On a busy morning in America, millions of people make small decisions that reveal something powerful about human behavior. They choose a coffee shop, they pick a pair of shoes, they unlock a phone, they buy groceries, and in many cases, they choose the same brand they chose yesterday. Not because it's cheaper, not because it's necessarily better, but because they trust it. Every day in the United States, consumers spend billions of dollars with brands they feel emotionally connected to. They return again and again to the same stores, the same apps, the same logos, often without even thinking about alternatives. This isn't coincidence, it's not luck, it's the result of one of the most sophisticated systems in modern business: brand loyalty. For companies, loyalty is the holy grail. A loyal customer doesn't just buy once, they buy for years. They recommend the brand to friends, they defend it online, they feel something when they see the logo. But loyalty isn't built overnight. Behind every beloved American brand is a carefully designed strategy built on psychology, storytelling, identity, and trust. So how do companies actually build brand loyalty in America? Why do people wait hours for a new product launch? Why do customers defend certain brands like sports teams? And why do some companies create lifelong fans while others disappear completely? The answer reveals a fascinating intersection of business strategy and human psychology. To understand this, we need to start with something simple: trust. Because loyalty almost always begins with trust. When customers trust a brand, decision-making becomes easier. Instead of evaluating dozens of options every time they shop, they rely on familiarity. This is why consistency matters so much. Walk into the same fast food restaurant in Texas, California, or Ohio, and you expect roughly the same experience: the same menu, the same taste, the same packaging. Consistency reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty is the enemy of loyalty. In a massive market like the United States, with thousands of competing companies in almost every category, consumers are constantly overloaded with choices. Brands that simplify those choices win. Think about the first phone someone buys from a certain company. If the experience is smooth, the product works well, and customer support is helpful, something interesting happens. The next time they upgrade, they don't start their search from zero. They simply return to the same brand. This is known as habit formation, and it's one of the most powerful forces in consumer behavior. Once habits form, loyalty begins to solidify. But trust and habit alone aren't enough. The most successful American brands understand something deeper. People don't just buy products, they buy identity. When someone chooses a brand, they're often expressing something about who they are or who they want to be. Some brands position themselves around innovation, others around reliability, others around status, others around community. And when a brand successfully connects itself to a person's identity, loyalty becomes emotional rather than rational. At that point, customers stop comparing prices and features. They stay because the brand represents something meaningful. You can see this clearly in how certain companies tell their stories. Great brands rarely focus only on the product. Instead, they focus on the mission. They create narratives about changing the world, empowering individuals, or redefining industries. These stories give customers something bigger to believe in, and belief strengthens loyalty. But storytelling alone isn't enough. In America's competitive marketplace, loyalty must be reinforced repeatedly. This is where customer experience becomes crucial. Every interaction between a customer and a brand is a chance to strengthen or damage loyalty. The website, the packaging, customer service, store design, shipping speed, even how problems are handled. When companies handle problems well, they often create even stronger loyalty than if nothing had gone wrong, because customers remember how they were treated when something mattered. This principle has shaped entire business models. Some companies invest heavily in customer support, not just to solve issues, but to create unforgettable service experiences. These moments build emotional connections, and emotional connections drive repeat purchases. Another major driver of brand loyalty is community. Humans are social creatures.
We naturally form tribes around shared interests. Brands that successfully build communities transform customers into members. Instead of simply buying a product, people feel like they belong to something. Online forums, social media groups, events, user-generated content. These spaces allow customers to connect not just with the brand, but with each other. And when that happens, loyalty becomes self-reinforcing. Leaving the brand no longer means switching products, it means leaving a community. This strategy has become even more powerful in the age of social media. In the past, brands communicated mainly through advertisements. Today, customers communicate with each other. Reviews, posts, and videos shape perceptions faster than any commercial ever could. Smart companies understand this shift. Instead of trying to control every message, they empower their most loyal customers to spread the story. Word of mouth has always been powerful, but in the digital age, it moves at extraordinary speed. One positive experience can reach thousands of people. One negative experience can do the same. So companies invest heavily in customer advocacy. They encourage reviews, they highlight real customer stories, they share user content. Because when people see others like them loving the brand, trust grows faster. Another key ingredient in loyalty is reward systems. Humans respond strongly to incentives. When customers feel rewarded for staying with a brand, they're more likely to return. This is why loyalty programs have become such a central part of modern business. Points, membership tiers, exclusive discounts, early access, special perks. These programs do more than save money. They create a sense of progression. The more someone engages with a brand, the more benefits they unlock. Psychologically, this taps into something known as the commitment effect. Once someone has invested time or effort into earning rewards, they're less likely to switch to a competitor. Airlines, retailers, and even coffee shops have mastered this strategy. Frequent customers accumulate points, they move up tiers, they unlock perks, and suddenly leaving the brand feels like losing progress. But loyalty isn't built only through incentives. Sometimes it's built through values. In the United States especially, consumers increasingly care what companies stand for: environmental responsibility, social impact, ethical production, community involvement. When a company's values align with a customer's beliefs, the relationship becomes deeper. People feel proud supporting the brand. However, this strategy carries risks. If companies claim certain values but fail to live up to them, customers react quickly. Authenticity matters. Brands that successfully align values with actions often create extremely loyal followings. Another powerful element in brand loyalty is nostalgia. Memory plays a huge role in consumer behavior. A brand someone grew up with can feel comforting and familiar.
It reminds them of childhood, family traditions, or important life moments. This emotional connection is difficult for competitors to break. Companies often reinforce nostalgia through packaging, advertising style, or limited edition product revivals. These small reminders reconnect customers with positive memories, and memories strengthen loyalty. But the most effective loyalty strategies combine several of these elements at once: trust, identity, community, rewards, values, experience. When all these pieces work together, brands stop being just companies. They become part of everyday life. This is why some brands dominate entire industries for decades. Once loyalty reaches a certain level, it creates powerful momentum. New customers join because existing customers recommend the brand. Those new customers become loyal as well, and the cycle continues. However, maintaining loyalty is often harder than building it. Markets change, technology evolves, customer expectations rise. Brands that stop innovating can lose loyalty surprisingly fast. History is filled with companies that were once beloved but failed to adapt. The brands that survive long-term treat loyalty as something that must be earned continuously. They listen to feedback, they evolve with culture, they update products while maintaining their core identity. This balance between innovation and familiarity is extremely delicate. Too much change, and loyal customers feel alienated. Too little change, and the brand feels outdated. The most successful companies navigate this tension carefully. They evolve without losing what made people love them in the first place. Another reason loyalty matters so much in America is the sheer scale of competition. In almost every category, from clothing to technology to food, customers have endless options. Advertising alone can't guarantee long-term success, but loyal customers provide stability. They generate predictable revenue. They help brands survive economic downturns. They reduce the need for constant, expensive marketing campaigns. In fact, acquiring a new customer often costs far more than retaining an existing one. This is why businesses increasingly focus on customer lifetime value rather than single transactions. Instead of asking, how much can we earn from this purchase, companies ask, how long can we keep this customer? The longer the relationship lasts, the more valuable it becomes. Some companies even design their entire strategy around long-term loyalty rather than short-term profit. They accept smaller margins today in exchange for decades of repeat business. And when it works, the results can be extraordinary. Customers become brand ambassadors. Communities grow. The brand itself becomes part of culture. In America, some brands have reached this level where they are more than businesses, they are cultural symbols. Their logos are instantly recognizable. Their products shape lifestyles. Their launches feel like events. Their customers feel like fans. But even the strongest brands must remain careful, because loyalty, while powerful, can be fragile. One major scandal, one major quality failure, one betrayal of customer trust, and years of loyalty can disappear quickly. In the age of social media, news travels instantly. Companies must protect trust constantly. Transparency has become more important than ever. When mistakes happen, and they inevitably do, brands that acknowledge problems openly often recover faster. Customers are surprisingly forgiving when they feel respected, but they rarely forgive deception. This is why modern brand loyalty relies heavily on authentic communication. Brands talk directly with customers. They respond publicly to feedback. They share behind-the-scenes content. They show the human side of the company. This transparency reduces the distance between company and customer. And when people feel connected to the humans behind the brand, loyalty grows stronger. At its core, brand loyalty is not really about logos or advertising. It's about relationships. Just like any relationship, it requires trust, consistency, shared values, and communication. Companies that understand this treat customers as partners rather than transactions. They listen, they adapt, they evolve, and over time, those relationships deepen. When that happens, something remarkable occurs. Customers stop thinking of themselves as customers. They start thinking of themselves as part of the brand's story. And that is the ultimate goal of brand loyalty. Because once people feel that connection, they stay. Not because they have to, but because they want to. And in a market as competitive as the United States, that difference can determine whether a company becomes a global icon or disappears entirely. So the next time you reach automatically for a familiar product, or return to the same store without considering alternatives, or recommend a brand to a friend without hesitation, you might pause and ask yourself something interesting. Did you choose that brand? Or did that brand, over time, carefully design an experience that made loyalty feel natural? Because behind every loyal customer is a long chain of decisions made by the brand. Decisions about trust, identity, community, experience, values, and storytelling. The companies that master these elements don't just sell products, they build something far more powerful. They build loyalty. And in America's vast marketplace, loyalty might be the most valuable asset a company can ever create. If you found this exploration fascinating, you're going to love what we uncover next. Because in the world of business, the most successful brands aren't always the ones with the best products.
sometimes they're the ones that understand people the best. And that story is just getting started. So if you enjoy deep dives into the strategies behind the world's most powerful brands, make sure to stay with Brand Story Lab, because the next story might completely change how you see the brands around you.